It is 6 o'clock and time for the July 15th regularly scheduled meeting of Findlay City Council. My name is Grant Russell. I am President Pro Tem, filling in for Council President Harrington, who is out of town today. And with that, we would like to have roll call of our council members.
Mr. Ballman?
Here.
Mr. DeArmond?
Here.
Ms. Frishy?
Here.
Mr. Greeno?
Here.
Mr. Hellman?
Here.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Russell?
Here.
Ms. Warnicki?
Here.
Mr. Wobser?
Present.
At this time, we usually stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence, but instead we have a little change in pace today. I've asked Pastor Walt Shepard, who is now serving as Findlay Police Department's lead chaplain, to come and lead us in the pledge and also in prayer, and also introduce himself to the community and to council. Pastor Shepard takes the place of a recently departed Pastor Terry Macbeth. Pastor Macbeth served his community for decades and for a long time as the lead pastor for Findlay PD. I know that on occasion Pastor Macbeth did the same thing, and I reached out to Pastor Shepard to have him here tonight. And Pastor Shepard, if you would please step to the microphone, hit that little red button, and kind of tell us about yourself and about the program for the folks who do not really know about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. The Findlay Police Department Chaplain C is now being directed by me. Chief Matthias has asked me to step up and to oversee the chaplaincy. Of course, I work under the mayor, under the direction of the mayor, and so we are basically there to provide spiritual counsel for our police officers. Of course, you know they have to deal with the.
Can you make sure that the red button?
Oh, there you go. All right, now it's on. Okay. All right. So as you know, the Findlay Police Department has to deal with the element in the community that's quite challenging, and because of that, we are there sort of to come alongside, provide spiritual counsel, counseling, just to direct them in any way we can. And so we spend time with them through ride-ons and developing relationships. And so we have four good chaplains right now that are working. And that has been a real blessing to see what God is doing there. So I do appreciate the opportunity to serve the community, and I am the founding pastor of Cornerstone Baptist Church here in Findlay. And I remember being in this council chamber when we were asking for a building permit, and I appreciate back in those years, 4 years ago, the approval to be able to get a building built, and it was a real blessing. So with that, do you want me to open in prayer and to? Okay, well, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, I guess. Let's all stand as a community, and I'll lead in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, we thank you tonight that our community can come together. We pray, God, for wisdom tonight. We pray, God, for your hand of leadership across, Lord, the council, our mayor, and I pray, God, for integrity. We pray for honesty and love for your word and for your work. Thank you for a community for the years has been a community that has a lot of salt. And I pray you bless and guide this meeting tonight. We pray, God, that you would just oversee everything that's done here tonight for your glory and for your honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pastor Shepard, thank you very much. Godspeed in your efforts with Findlay PD. Very much appreciated. With that, we'll move on with the agenda. Acceptance to the July 1st, 2025 regular session of City Council meetings. Looking for a motion. Motion from Mr. Palmer. A second by Mr. DeArmond. Questions or comments on the agenda or on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, and they are approved. And let's, real quick, let's have because President Harrington is not here tonight, if we could have a motion to excuse his absence. Mr. Hellman and second, Mr. Wobser. All in favor of excusing John, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and he is excused. Moving on to add-ons, replacements, and removals for the agenda. Mr. Wobser, you're up.
We have 2 add-ons tonight. We have a letter from City Engineer Kalb, which includes the Water Master Plan, adding on to project number 35743400. Also, we have the addition of the legislation section for ordinance 2025-087. I'll make a motion to include those in tonight's agenda.
We have a motion, second by Mr. Palmer. Questions or comments? All in favor of the additions, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. They are added. We have no proclamations, petitions, oral communications will be done in line. Written email communications from Mr. Tim Brueggemann.
I don't normally read it unless they.
So we have written communications from Tim Brueggemann. Questions or comments? Mr. Hellman?
Since Mr. Brugman isn't here, could we have that letter read?
Second, Mr. Palmer. All those in favor of having the letter read into the record, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
And with that, we'll do a quick roll call vote.
Mr. Baumann,
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond,
Aye.
Ms. Frishy,
Nay.
Mr. Greeno,
Nay.
Mr. Hellman,
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer,
Nay.
Mr. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Russell,
Nay.
Ms. Warnicki,
Nay.
and Mr. Wobser.
Nay.
There's only
4-6.
4 in favor.
So that the letter will not be read into the record. No utility or contractor communications. On to reports of municipal officers and municipal departments.
City Income Tax Monthly Collections Report for June 2029.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Findlay Municipal Court Activities Report for June 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
City Planning Commission Agenda for July 10th, 2025, as well as a staff report for July 10th, 2025, and the minutes of June 12th, 2025.
Questions or comments?
Mayor.
Mayor Mern.
Just one quick item in the minutes. It noted that cannabis could be used on the premises. That is a cannot. Under Ohio law, cannabis cannot be consumed on the premises. Just wanted to clarify that, and we'll make sure it gets corrected.
Other questions or comments? Agendas and staff reports and minutes be filed.
Precipitation and reservoir levels report for second quarter of 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Findlay Police Departmental Activities Report for June 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Findlay Fire Department Activities Report for June 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Treasurer's Reconciliation Report for June 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Summary Financial Reports as of June 30th, 2025.
Questions or comments? Reports be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding proposed zoning permit and fee adjustments.
Questions or comments? We'll have these. Ms. Frishy.
I was just looking to see if we could have a little more explanation on dollar amounts and so forth, exactly what you're looking at changing, Rob.
Mr. Martin.
I was prepared to talk about that at planning and zoning when this is presented, but just looking at the market in different communities and where we compare, trying to cover more of the operational cost of the zoning department, just looking at how costs are going up and looking at how we can still be fair in what we're charging, but moving the needle a little bit with the coverage of the operating cost.
So it goes into the general side to help pay payroll for those positions.
It would go into the general fund, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Stasiak.
Thank you. As you guys do that, when you get them to where you want them, if you could shoot me estimate of how you think they'll change the budgeted revenues as we go into the budget cycle. That'll be helpful because I'll need that for the calculation to determine where we end up as we roll in. So thanks.
Other questions or comments? And we'll refer that to the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Zoning Administrator Floodplain Manager Atkins for request for Council Committee review of floodplain compliance.
Questions or comments? Ms. Frishy?
This was something we discussed, I think, last year, and we appropriated a couple $1,000s to be able to do that. Are you still in budget, or are we over that dollar amount? With
Mr. Martin?
We have not spent any of that money yet. What we want to do is we're actually bringing this to the committee to actually talk about the detail of what we want to do moving forward with these recommendations from FEMA.
So expecting more money to be needed?
No,
No,
not necessarily.
okay.
Other questions or comments? Refer to the Water and Sewer Committee.
A letter from Hancock Regional Planning Commission Director Cordonier regarding City of Findlay revolving loan fund request for appropriation.
Questions or comments? And that'll be covered by ordinance 2025-085. Letter be filed.
Anybody know?
Oh, Mr. Wobster, do you have a question?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't know if Matt is here, but I was just wondering what SOAR equipment is. I'm interested. I don't know.
Mr. Stasiak.
Thanks. So, yeah, I'm part of your RLF board, as you all know, and I was the only one from the city. I think that was there that day, with the exception of Matt. That being said, it's what the community is actually craved for a long, long time. That's a place for young people to come in and do indoor sports at the trampoline park and that type of thing. We have got a number of good people working on it. It's a multi-person partnership. They've got an interesting business structure in place, and Chuck Bills, who's very active in the community and been very successful, is a big sponsor for them in terms of building the building and working with them on a lease or lease purchase, or however they ultimately end up doing it down the road. So a lot of people are very excited, and as you all know, the purpose of the RLF is to be there to support things like this when we think it enhances the community, and when the banks say, well, we'll give you some, but we won't give it all to you. So that's what we're here for. So this fits the role of the RLF very well.
Other questions or comments? Letter be filed.
Letter from Service Safety Director Martin regarding authorization to apply for Ohio BWC grant funding for Fire Department SCBA decontamination unit.
Questions or comments? Letter be filed.
Letter from City Auditor Stashak regarding revenue estimates for fiscal year 2026. He requests that this be read.
Ms. Frishy?
I'll make that motion.
Second, Mr. Wobster. We have a request to have this letter read. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The letter shall be read.
Ohio clearly defines a budgetary process which includes the requirement that municipalities prepare an annual tax budget by July 20th. The County Budget Commission has not required the filing of a complete tax budget for many years and requires the City of Findlay only to provide the attached estimated revenues for submission to the Budget Commission for the next fiscal year. In order to meet the statutory requirements for the distribution of local government money, this document should now be formally accepted by council, so it can then be filed with the county auditor by no later than July 20. It is noted here that ordinance number 2025-76 and ordinance number 2025-77 together total $4,032,000 in unbudgeted general fund spending that is anticipated to pass at your July 15th meeting, so the projected ending unappropriated balance of the general fund for January 1st, 2026 has been changed to a new lower amount of $17.2 million. A motion for acceptance of the revenue estimates will be needed. As required by statute, the council clerk scheduled a public hearing before this meeting, notice of which was published 10 days before the hearing. The document has been available for public inspection in my office since July 2nd of this year.
Looking for a motion to accept the revenue estimates. Mr. Palmer, second, Ms. Frishy. Discussion? All those in favor of accepting the revenue estimates, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Is voice vote good enough, Jim? All right. The revenue estimates are accepted.
A letter from 2nd Ward Councilman Hellman, 3rd Ward Councilwoman Warnicki, and 4th Ward Councilman DeArmond regarding management of city investments.
With a letter requesting an ad hoc committee from 3 council reps. That's, to me, sounds like a motion and a second, but for meeting purposes, we'll look for a motion and a second to create this committee. Motion by Mr. DeArmond, second by Ms. Warnicki. Discussion. Mr. DeArmond.
So this whole issue around investments started over a year ago when I was asking basic questions about our investments with no substantive answers. So I started peeling back the layers and learning more, and this has evolved into looking at the entire process around our investments. Communication, transparency, reporting, accountability, and strategy. Every aspect needs to be evaluated against best practices. So forming an ad hoc investment committee is the first step. Let's just take it one step at a time and not get ahead of ourselves by assuming an outcome. The Ohio Revised Code says City Council is the governing body over our investments. Let's work together and govern with best practices. So I'm asking my fellow councilors for their support on establishing an ad hoc investment committee. Thank you.
Ms. Frischie?
I guess my question or comments on this letter that was put in the packet would be, I think it's better served in appropriations, and I also think it's better served once the new council comes into play, because they're going to be the ones making any decisions and understanding things, and I see no rush for this, but I think if you want to have it discussed now, I think it's best served in appropriations.
Mr. Wobser?
I agree with Councilwoman Frischie. I think this needs to go to appropriations first. We can look through this and have a discussion about it prior to maybe looking at an ad hoc committee. I've got concerns about an ad hoc committee in this topic specifically. And so I'll be voting no on an ad hoc committee for this. We could take this to appropriations and deal with it there. And if at the later point in time, I believe next year, Mr. Auditor, we're looking at having to form a finance committee next year, I believe. Is that correct? So I think that would also be something that a finance committee could pick up and deal with at that point.
Mr. Stasiak?
Thanks, I appreciate that. Spoke at length with Appropriations Chair Wobser as well as Law Director Feiner regarding this, because I also feel it just gets to the point where sometimes sitting in this chair, you wonder why you say anything at all, because and going back through the correspondence, it was very clear in the letter in February as to how the process worked. It took over a month of emails back and forth to get an idea of the fact that we were looking for just ROI rather than a straight answer as to what we needed with regard to the information. And the city doesn't track ROI. But in adjustment to that and to make a good accommodation of that on every investment in the report that you got today in your packet, several months ago, as you know, I changed and added yield to maturity there. You could call yield to maturity ROI, but it wouldn't be proper. It's each investment shows you what it's making. And our investments at the time, I think I told you over 70% of our investments were making, it was in excess of 5% or damn near 5% at the time. But in terms of trying to talk to this group, it's become very frustrating. And this letter fully illustrates that. And it was so frustrating. My deputy auditor is in the audience tonight because she's beside herself in terms of the misstatement of facts and information. We don't know if it's a misunderstanding. We don't know if it's not paying attention. We don't know if it's intentional. But just this letter itself and the bases for which the committee is asked for is not proper. And I could give several examples of that, but I'll not do that at this moment. I did, in speaking to Councilman Wobser, it was the intent originally to address the investments in the mid-year review as part of that, as we had talked about that, and I think I talked about that with a couple of you. I don't think that's appropriate now based on where this has gone, and I think because of that, what I hope was to have the mid-year review before your next council meeting, the first week of August. I think we could, I could very easily make time before the mid-year review for this topic. I've talked to Councilman Wobser about that. He thinks he could make that happen. And I think that would give us a chance to do something else, and that is the fact that this letter is too focused. The investment question and council's role in dealing with the investment question is much broader than this. And it's appropriations that deals with and needs to deal with how the cash flows of the city are, how they should be impacted, where the things are going in terms of the monies that we need and the projects that we're doing. We can talk about if the administration is going to start giving us cash flow information on the projects again like they used to do. We haven't got those in a number of years. There's a lot of things appropriations can do that will help not only council, but us all to address this in a professional, positive manner. And I really think that would be a good next step in appropriations, get you an overall picture, get you an overall understanding that would go beyond the letter that I gave you in February and the letters that I gave you prior to that as part of this banking process. Make sure everybody understands that every dollar of the city's money is protected, and any stated goal to maximize ROI is completely contradictory to the ORC in terms of that being a primary function. The primary function is to protect every dollar of the taxpayers' money and then enhance it over and above that. And I would look forward to the Appropriations Committee talking about that focus in light of the other things that it would need to address that are budgetary and fit well. And I think in talking to Law Director Feiner, Rob, I encourage you to comment if you had any issues with that, but it's so broad. And the last thing I'll say is, I believe, especially based on the tone of this letter and what's happened with my staff and their understanding of this letter and the frustration they have, I think there's too much personal in this. I think there's too much personality in this, too much politics. And I think in agreement with what's being said on that side, let's put it in appropriations, take the politics and the personal out of it, and have a positive approach to move forward. So I would fully encourage you.
With that, we'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor of the creation of the ad hoc committee, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Nay.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Nay.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
And Mr. Wobser?
Nay.
4 nays. 6.
The ad hoc committee has been approved, and I will communicate via email tomorrow asking for folks who are interested in serving on the committee, and have a letter to the full of council in next meeting's packet for a vote of confirmation. Next.
Letter from Hancock Regional Planning Commission Director Cordania regarding workforce housing development.
And for council's notice, we have a representative of Sullivan Development. Zach Linsky has come over from the suburbs of Indianapolis, Indiana, unless the folks in Carmel would like me to call Indianapolis a suburb of Carmel, to answer any questions for council. We can either do that now or during the time of Resolution 018-2025. But if anybody has questions for Mr. Linsky, now is the time. And with that, we'll have the letter be filed.
Add-on letter from City Engineer Kalb regarding Water Master Plan, project number 357-43400.
Discussion?
Frishy.
Ms. Frishy?
Did you call on me?
Yes.
Jeremy, you know, we depend on the GIS system a lot. When you say that there's wrong piping and material and stuff being labeled and put into that, is that old or that's been new stuff and something got?
No, so this was from when the GIS was first developed years ago. I couldn't
Like
tell you
back
when
in
it
the
was put
80s or
in,
something.
but one of the examples was Sandusky Street. That's one of the original lines that came into Findlay when all the lines were put out there. It was shown 1940. It was shown a different pipe material. Working with Arcadis, who one of their project engineers actually used to work for the city, so he knew about that, and he said, quickly glancing through that, he looked at some prime ones. He's like, I know that's a 1890 pipe. We started diving into it more, looking at, there's some discrepancies in when the pipe was actually installed, when it was updated, what type of material and all that is in it. So when we go into the capital planning side of that, if you don't have the right year of install, you don't have the right type of material, you don't have the right type of connections, it's going to really spit out different segments that we should be replacing as part of that capital. We've been doing a large effort to update our GIS. This is going to be another good opportunity to make sure that what we have on there is very accurate, because it is used daily and it is used for capital planning processes. Very labor intensive. I was hoping never to get into this, but I don't want to have bad data and have bad data, shot out from that.
So the 210 is not just Sandusky. It's
the whole
that's
system. I was giving
everything.
you that as an
I was just
example of
checking.
one pipe we looked at that we knew for sure was not correct.
So we haven't cameraed that area.
You can't really camera water lines. I
Oh,
mean,
water,
they're
true,
pressure
sorry.
pipe, so.
Forgot that. Okay.
Other questions or comments? Letter be filed. Committee reports.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request for the zoning of 37.906 acres for parcel numbers 02-000-102-7753, 02-000-102-7752, 02-000-103-2372, and 02-000-101-8662, currently situated in Allen Township, hereinafter referred to as the Keller Seifert Enterprises LLC et al. Annexation that is currently in the process of being annexed in the city of Findlay, Ohio limits, to be zoned CD condominium. We recommend approval as requested.
Discussion. Looking for a motion to accept the committee report. Mr. Baumann, second, Mr. DeArmond. Now discussion, I'm sorry. Seeing as though there's none, all those in favor of accepting the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. It is accepted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request for the zoning of 7.883 acres for various parcels listed in the attached Exhibit A, currently situated in Liberty Township, hereinafter referred to as the Northtown Condominium Villas Annexation that is currently in the process of being annexed into the city of Findlay, Ohio limits, to be zoned CD condominium. We recommend approval as requested.
Looking for a motion for approval. Mr. Wobser, second, Mr. DeArmond. Questions? Discussion. Seeing as though there is none, all those in favor of acceptance of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, and it is accepted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request for the zoning of 9.166 acres for parcels numbers 270000511420 and 270000, I missed a zero, by the way, 51430, currently situated in Liberty Township, hereinafter referred to as the Greenbrier Holdings Ltd. and Mauer Reynolds LLC, South Main Street annexation, that is currently in the process of being annexed into the city of Findlay, Ohio limits, to be zoned M2 multifamily high density. We recommend approval as requested.
Mr. Wobser,
Motion to approve.
second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. All those in favor of acceptance of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. It is accepted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request from Precious Stubbe on behalf of the Hancock County Board of Alcohol, Drug, ADD, MH, to rezone 2449 and 2453 Grace Boulevard from R3 Single Family High density residential to M2 multifamily residential district. We recommend approval as requested.
Motion to approve, Mr. Wobser, second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion? Mayor?
I would just note for the public that no changes are actually being made to this property. It's for them to be compliant with Wood County Building Code because they are wanting to kind of connect the two properties that are immediately next to each other. If they were to do any modifications to the property, they would have to come back to City Planning Commission.
Other discussion? All those in favor of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Committee report is accepted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request from Phil Rooney, agent for the petitioner, to vacate the entire portion of Westgate Drive from the east right-of-way line of Long Meadow Lane to the easterly terminus of Westgate Drive. We recommend approval as requested.
Mr. DeArmond, motion to accept. Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion? Ms. Frischie?
I was at your guys' planning and zoning meeting. I thought this was an interesting discussion. On some levels, it seems like it's not really a big deal. It'll prevent making any possible growth off of Spruce Drive coming into that subdivision. But it is drainage for the businesses on Tiffin Avenue. And it kind of leaves a gray area, and it's unique that a private property owner is owning a drainage area. Kind of not sure which way to go on that approval for. I don't know if there's anything more new that can be shared to make it better understood that it's not a big deal. I know that Dennis abstained because I think he had a little bit of heartburn, but yeah. So I guess it is because can it be causing water backup and flooding issues with all the concrete on Tiffin Avenue? Anybody have any?
Mayor Mern?
As was discussed at length at the City Planning Commission meeting, is that by vacating this alleyway, that does not mean that they can make any negative impacts to the surrounding area because it is considered detention and is recorded as such for the surrounding parcel. So vacation currently just means that there's this parcel of land that technically a roadway could connect them at some point. That does not make sense. The property owner owns a number of parcels that are divided by this, so they may be able to build a home on one of the adjoining properties while maintaining the drainage, which is in essence why they are trying to connect the two parcels. But no, they would not be able, they will have to follow all the proper permitting and file with any detention changes that would occur, given that it does provide drainage to that area.
Other discussion? All those in favor of acceptance of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The committee report is accepted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request to finalize donation bins discussions. We recommend moving forward with this legislation, including modifications to 1161.16.6 exemptions A2, as discussed and agreed to during the meeting.
Mr. DeArmond, motion to accept. Second, Mr. Baumann. Discussion. I'll add real quick that this is was kind of initiated by Hancock Regional Planning. It is the point of this is to move donation bins out of the main public thoroughfares and move them behind buildings. I think they counted 30-some donation bins on Tiffin Avenue alone. Put some permitting behind them. There's some thought that some of the donation bins might even be on property that property owners aren't even aware that they're there, but require the property owner to also sign off on the fact that these are there. It's not meant to affect folks like Salvation Army or Goodwill that maintain donation bins on their place of business. I think it's good legislation, and we're with this committee report, they're looking to have this legislation drawn up and presented to council as a change to the zoning code. We should see it on the agenda for the first meeting in August. Other comments? With that, all in favor of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The committee report is accepted.
The Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request to finalize conditional use discussions. We recommend progressing with the adoption of this legislation.
Looking for a motion, Mr. Baumann, second, Mr. DeArmond. Discussion. Ms. Frishy.
Again, I was at that meeting. I know Grant he was a nay on it because I think of gas stations. You know, originally we addressed small box dollar stores that we weren't going to be putting conditional use on them. Gas stations, and I don't remember what the whole list was, and I didn't know if we accept this, Rob Feitner, if this is accepting the changes because they're not really attached, or if there's more to come.
Jacob Mercer reached out to me today, and him and I are meeting tomorrow to go over what was discussed, what they're looking for to do. So there will be legislation on this to come.
Okay, so accepting the committee report isn't doing anything.
Correct.
Yeah, it's my understanding the acceptance of the committee report will have the zoning, the legislation which changes the zoning code created and be on the agenda for the first meeting in August. Other discussion? All those in favor of acceptance of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Aye. The committee report is accepted.
You're a nay? Sorry, gotta make a note. Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom is referred a request to discuss parking standards. We recommend to continue discussion.
Motion to accept, Mr. DeArmond, second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion? All those in favor of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
And the committee report is accepted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request to discuss farm animals. We recommend additional language for fencing in parts 3 and 4, develop public input forums, including posting draft legislation to website, and continue discussions.
Mr. Baumann, a motion to accept. Second, Mr. DeArmond. Discussion. Ms. Frishy.
This whole legislation with chickens coming up again, honestly, the newer changes that we're trying to put in to even adopt something, I feel like we're giving opportunity for neighbors to argue with neighbors, because we don't enforce these things, right? You know, I know there was discussion about, you know, people have to keep their chicken poop in a sealed container and empty it every 7 days. Well, are we going to have the chicken poop police coming and checking these containers and say, oh, that looks like 8 days of poop, you're out of violation? Like, these requirements are silly, and all it's going to do is going to cause arguments between neighbors. It's a tool to go to war, and I just think it's completely wrong.
Other discussion? All those in favor of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
And the committee report is accepted.
Planning and Zoning Committee, to whom was referred a request to discuss length of construction rules. We recommend to continue discussions with input from the law director and the zoning administration.
Looking for a motion, Mr. DeArmond. Second, Mr. Niemeyer. Discussion. All those in favor of the committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
And the committee report is accepted.
Legislation.
On to legislation.
First reading for Resolution 17, 2025, a resolution approving the expenditures made by the Auditor's Office on the attached list of vouchers which either exceed the purchase order or were incurred without a purchase order, exceeding the statutory limit of $3,000, all in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5705.41D.
Mr. Hellman. We have a motion for approval. Second, Mr. DeArmond. Discussion. All those in favor of resolution 017-2025, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman? Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
And Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
The resolution is adopted.
First reading for Resolution 18, 2025. A resolution supporting the Workforce Housing Development Project to provide multifamily housing on parcel numbers 21-000-1033-649-0 Concord Court and 61-000-101-6999-0 East Melrose Avenue, and declaring an emergency.
Looking for a motion? I'm sorry, Mr. DeArmond.
I'll move to approve the resolution.
Isn't that 3 readings, Mr. President?
No. Sorry, it's first reading.
Yeah, this is, I'm sorry, I assume this, we knew this was one reading. This is a one reading resolution. And so we have a motion for approval by Mr. DeArmond, looking for a second. Second by Mr. Ballman, discussion. Mr. DeArmond?
Could somebody explain what is workforce housing, please? Thank you.
The mayor, or do you want Mr. Linsky to?
Yeah, he can come up and
Okay.
tell a little bit about the properties, but I'll just provide context. These are letters. So first of all, this is just a letter of support that is necessary for them to be able to work for funds through the state for infrastructure dollars. We've done letters of support for similar projects in the past. What it does is they then are able to go get all their financing and everything in order, and then they still have to come back to us for city planning commission and review of the project as a whole. But if you want to just give a couple of comments on the projects and what you guys do.
If you just make sure that that little red light's on there, Mr. Linsky?
Sure. Believe it's on.
Yes,
You all hear me?
thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, members of the council and the mayor, for having me out here today. As stated, my name is Zach Linsky. I'm with Sullivan Development. So to answer your question, I guess to go straight to the heart of the matter, we basically are looking to build housing to help support the Tall Timbers Industrial Park and other users. The project's actually location is very close to it. Typically, rents are set as a percentage of the median income within the greater kind of Hancock County area. We're still pretty early on in the project, and as the mayor stated, this basically is one of the very first steps. We would still have to come back and go to planning commission, or as needed, I guess, get permitting approval and that sort of thing. The property is already zoned for the use. But yeah, I don't know if that helped explain it at all, if you had further clarification.
Mr. DeArmond?
Are these condos or single-family homes? Is this low-income housing? What
It's
is this?
apartments. It's more typically like moderate income is kind of what we're looking at. We don't have it all set. Like I said, we're still really early in the process, but
So they're apartments.
yes, they're rental apartments. Correct.
Ms. Frischie?
So this is my ward over here. So, is it similar to what's been going in over there? Is it?
As far as Blanchard Station next door, again, we're still really early, so I'm not completely familiar with all the details of that project, although I did drive through it and I'm familiar. It actually looks pretty nice, I think. Probably similar, but we may be doing in terms of the design and stuff different, not the same in terms of design, but same kind of, general idea.
And
I guess.
150 is your target number?
That's the
not
max.
less?
Yeah, that's the max. I think we'll probably be much smaller than that, likely.
And I'll just express to you that the neighbors in that area didn't like when the roads cut through for Blanchard Station, and it's given them a lot more traffic and for cut through. So, being fair to them, because they were there first, is most important to me. And you said moderate housing price, so you're saying this is not subsidized housing.
Correct. It's not. We're not planning to do like what you would refer to as project-based vouchers or anything like that at this time. No. And to address your comment about the access, we are, at least now, again, we're still early, but we're trying to utilize the access point that's, I think it's called Lakota Drive, the access point next to the self-storage facility that was put in onto Melrose.
Okay.
So
I
that
know
would,
what you're talking
that as our main access, so that would ideally reduce, traffic through the neighborhood and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Other questions for Mr. Linsky? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Other discussion? With that, all those in favor of Resolution 018-2025, please say aye after name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman? Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
And Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
With that,
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mr. DeArmond.
the resolution is approved. And Mr. Linsky, you are free to go if you want to rush over to Dietz Brothers and make sure you bring back Carmel a little bit of Findlay's finest. So do not forget, because I will call them tomorrow to make sure that you delivered the goods. Thank you for coming today. On to ordinances.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-76, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into a contract with Strand and Associates Incorporated to provide design and engineering services of the downtown recreation area, project number 319-13700, appropriating funds.
Mr. Wobser.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-76.
Second, Mr. Ballman. We have public comment tonight, and it's difficult to say if it's about this ordinance or the next one. So if it is, the councils will be okay with this. I suggest that we do all the public comment at this point in time. We have 8 people who have submitted forms, not knowing if they are in favor or opposed to the upcoming legislation. I have them in the order that they were delivered or turned into me, and I suggest that we just listen for or have all 8 folks talk, because if we did a 4-4, it would be 8. So I think we just entertain all 8 public speaking requests if there's a nod of council to doing it that way. And with that, the first person up to speak today is Mr. Jeffrey Fort from Ward 3. And for all speakers, please note that there is a 4-minute time limit. And what I will do is when there is 30 seconds left, I will simply say 30 seconds. And when their time is up, I will simply say that your time is up, and then we'll go into discussion. Mr. Fort, if you could make sure that the red light is on when you start to talk.
There's a summary of my comments there. There's 10 copies there. So I don't know quite how to start this. I think most people know and saw my letter to the letter and read into the record, I think, last week. I think when you're considering competing information or conflicting information, you got to consider the source. And while I try not to be immodest, part of how to judge conflicting information is the source of it and credibility and trustworthiness. I'm a graduate of the Naval Academy and near the top of my class. I was a captain in the Navy. I think the reason I bring that up is from the day I was 22 years old on the deck of a ship, people trusted me with the lives of sailors and trusted my judgment. After that, I went to law school at Ohio State. I was at Marathon as their environmental attorney, and then at Shoemaker, Lupin Kendrick, the biggest and most expensive law firm in Toledo. So I've been legal counsel for these kinds of projects for 40 years. I'm here because I'm tired of the misinformation and the fear-mongering that's being spread by so-called experts, and I know it when I see it. I've been doing this long enough. Someone may have experience in some areas of environmental health and safety, air and water permits, for example, but remediation is a specialized field in the same way that an ear, nose, throat doctor isn't qualified to do heart surgery. Okay, there are specializations. The first couple of key points, this is not an unusual site. I've worked on so many of these sites, I started to try listing them, but for example, the Art Museum in Toledo is on land that had been a contaminated gas station. Owens Corning's headquarters on the middle grounds and the Maumee River is on the site of an old railroad and factory site. The casino is on a former Glace Rouge settling pond. For the zoo, bunting bearing was on one side of Anthony Wayne Trail. The Jennison Wright creosote operation was on the other side. You've been there. The Toledo Edison plant was an 1800s coal-burning design power plant, and it's been recycled. The old Jeep plant, I worked on that. The new Jeep plant, I worked on that. And in all this time, the voluntary action program came into being while I was doing all this, so I'm very familiar with it. Those who design and implement remediation have to be certified by the Ohio EPA. The city's consultant, CEC, has this certification. CEC, I just looked it up to just make sure you understand that they were founded in Pittsburgh in 1989. They have 34 nationwide offices and more than 1,500 team members. They are more than qualified to address this site. That is, to assess the condition, design the appropriate response, and implement it. That's their job. The Ohio EPA standards are risk-based. That is, I used to do this and there were no standards. That is, the standards take into account the kind of contamination, the level of contamination, the what they call pathways of exposure.
30
whether it's
seconds.
Dirt, what?
30 seconds.
Okay. Let me just say, I've reviewed with a very experienced environmental engineer that used to work for OH. And let me conclude this by saying, I think the path taken by the city thus far with its consultant CEC is reasonable and in compliance with the law. If I were the attorney giving advice, and I've done this
Your time
my
is
whole
up.
life,
Thank
I'd say
you.
do it.
Question for Mr. Fort. Ms. Frischi.
Mr. Fort, I guess I have a couple questions because I'm trying to hear both sides of everything. So what does CERCLA remediation, what does CERCLA mean to you?
For a site to be addressed, CERCLA, C-E-R-C-L-A.
Please speak in the microphone. Thank
The
you.
Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act, otherwise known as Superfund, passed in 1980 in the wake of Love Canal and Valley of the Drums. It establishes a liability for Superfund sites categorized and prioritized to be within the Superfund, which uses public money to clean up the sites. So CERCLA would apply to where there has been a release of a hazardous substance in excess of its reportable quantity. That's when CERCLA is triggered. It has nothing to do with this site. Okay, this is not a CERCLA site, not even close.
So I've not doubted CEC on what they were quoted to do and what they're quoted to do at a VAP level of remediation, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not giving us a clean bill of health. And when I say that, I mean that you cannot tell me, and maybe you can, and maybe there's more to it, but you cannot tell me that we are 100% sure that we have no liability. Are you saying that CEC's remediation eliminates the city of Findlay's liability going into the future if somebody ends up with cancer, organ failure, whatever it might be? Are you saying the city has zero liability? And then if you say yes, my question would be to our law director, are we agreeing with that? Are we willing to take that risk?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you and then seeing where our law director concurs or stands.
First off, for there to be any liability, there has to be a violation of something under the common law or something of statute. And common law, let's just say, it won't be under statute because OEPA or CEC, which is qualified, will issue a no further action letter to complete the project.
But is
okay?
that the same?
For what?
As-
What you're asking, I think, is can you clean up a site, even this room, to where there's no risk? When you measure at parts per billion and parts per trillion, you'll find everything everywhere, okay? Is there no, it's really a measure of risk. The biggest risk we'll all face today is at about 10 to the minus 4. okay, or 5. 1 in 10,000 chance of being killed on the way home. EPA regulates at 10 to the minus 6, okay? So these standards that upon which VAP and all environmental laws are based on a 10 to the minus 6 standard. And people who are assigned scientists and industrial hygienists, experts, battle over these standards. You can imagine, because the cost of cleanup is in relationship to the level of risk. I mean, you could spend tons and tons and tons of money to get to a lower level, but the question is, what is the standard, an appropriate standard for any given kind of site? And that's what CEC is paid to do, to look at all those reports. I sat down with a 40-year environmental remedial guy last week and went over the Phase 2 reports, CEC's recommendations. I had these reports when Nichols owned the property in the 1990s. He hired me. Okay, I'm familiar with this site way back. Okay, and so CEC's job is to consider all the circumstances, what is in the ground, what the level of risk is, how could anybody be exposed to it, and make a cleanup remedy that's appropriate. Could it be cleaned up cleaner? Sure you could. It would be 10 times the cost, probably. Is it worth the cost? That's what risk-based means, is you take all that in consideration, given what the chemicals are and what their health effects are, and you adopt an appropriate standard. What is an appropriate standard? None of us in this room is qualified to decide what the appropriate level is. They have, to the extent they've been incorporated with a standard like the one being proposed here, commercial with child exposure possible, or whatever it is, you got to trust CEC, who you're paying, who's on the line. If anybody's liable if it's wrong, it'll be CEC. And believe me, they have the insurance for it. Okay, but is the city going to be liable? No way. Okay, no way.
So as a citizen, this is your stance. You're not giving a legal opinion to the city of Findlay. And even though we own the property, you're 100% sure. And even though there are different levels of remediation, you as a citizen are happy with what's...
I wouldn't be here otherwise.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your opinion and you giving it as a citizen. Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Fort? Mr. DeArmond.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, Jeff, how contaminated, looking at other brownfield sites, I mean, my understanding, this is not that contaminated relative to a lot of...
This is minor. This is I said we just did the creosote for the zoo just 2 years ago, took the Jennison Wright creosote plant and and the zoo bought it with my help.
All right, so this is low risk site then. All right,
very low.
All right.
And how are you going to get exposed to chrome?
Other questions for Mr. Fort? Ms. Frishy.
You just got done after all of this that you said that you are not an expert. None of us in this room is an expert. We're saying this is not a big deal, but it's hex chrome. And you're wanting to put, the plan is to put residential housing surrounding this area, whether it's low income or not. I don't want to go into the weeds there, but we're going to have people there on a regular basis being exposed. And you say, how do people even get exposed? Well, you can inhale it. It can get on your skin. You can, once it's in your system, it's there forever. And it's one of the most toxic chemicals on a list, right? Can we agree on that? That it's up there. It's some serious stuff. And we are sitting here having a political back and forth of, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. And it's not about being against the park. That's like a second to this. For me, for your grandkids, for anybody's kids into the future, I don't want to take that risk. I don't believe that we don't have liability. I don't believe you. I believe we do have liability because we assumed it. And you even acknowledged that Bob Nichols, you knew there was hex chrome and this was a bad site, which tells me the mayor knew it was a bad site. And we're way out of line. Why would you not want to, as a citizen, want to clean this site up to a CERCLA standard for residential?
There's no such thing as a
okay,
CERCLA
maybe
standard.
I'm using. Okay, so what?
Christ.
Oh, gee.
Just, you don't know what you're
You
Stop,
don't know
stop,
either. You just
Holly,
said you
Holly,
were the
Holly,
expert. I'm
stop
sorry.
for a second.
This is an important.
Stop for a second. You're gonna make a statement. He's gonna respond. I would ask that the audience, please, remain quiet during the discussion. This will be the last back and forth. Holly, you were finishing up a question. And Mr. Fort, please, watch the language. Thank you.
So my question to you is, why would we not want to clean up to a higher standard? Maybe me as a council person, as a citizen, is using the wrong word and trying to grasp all the big pieces of environmental. You said none of us are an expert, but if we want to spend $40 million plus to put a beautiful park in the downtown, why would we not want to invest to clean it to a standard that is safe way into the future? Why would we not want to spend 1.6 million, 3 million, whatever that dollar amount is? Why would we not want to work with the county and do it right? And that would eliminate any possibility of liability. Why?
Mr. Fort.
What is right, what is appropriate is worked into those cleanup levels and standards. This is a matter of debate for decades, okay? These standards were established 30 years ago and are tweaked. Sure, there's always some higher level that could be achieved. And you have to measure it in terms of risk. And the risk level is appropriate, or CEC wouldn't put their stamp of assurance on it, and the city is perfectly reasonable to rely on an expert like CEC. And usually in these projects, there's somebody like CEC and a lawyer, okay, that are usually doing this stuff. That's why I've been involved in so many of these, okay? And
so your
Right.
answer,
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Well, he did not answer the question.
Well,
Would you want it clean
thank you, Mr.
to full
Ford.
status? He's not
Mr. Feiner wanted to make a statement.
Just to finish a question by Holly, I think Mr. Fort in a long way answered the liability issue on this property. And then the key thing here when I've talked with folks on this is that we're not the polluter now, and we weren't the polluter back in the day on this property. We have an opportunity here, in my opinion, looking at it from a legal analysis, to own these properties and have control over them. That we can do what's appropriate, what is safe for the community, and so forth down the road. We're sitting here tonight, and other nights, there's been lots of ideas and conversations about what to do with these properties or not do with them. But I guarantee you that's not happening on the county level. I haven't heard it discussed at all on the county level. My concern as a member of the law director and a citizen, I don't care what the property ever gets used for, but I think the city should have control and say over that, even if we just fence it in.
Our next speaker tonight is Margaret Peggy Lehman. She lives in the 4th Ward. Peggy, the microphone is yours. 4 minutes.
The red light means it's on? Okay. Okay, excuse me. It's obvious that our mayor is a visionary. That's good. Our leadership needs to have vision. The downtown recreation area is an excellent example of the mayor's visionary skills. I'm sure you are all aware that petitions are being circulated to put this issue on the November ballot. I have talked to many people about this project since the mayor's first made public how she wants it developed. I have talked to many more people since petitions to require a public vote have been circulating. What impresses me most about these conversations is that whether people are for or against the project, those I have talked to are in favor of it being on the November ballot. They want Findlay citizens to make the decision. Our Constitution begins with the following: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America." Our government is bottom up. Officials are elected to carry out the will of the people. It is not an autocratic top-down government. I and others are asking this council to affirm our Constitution by waiting until the November ballot results are in before proceeding with any plans for the downtown recreation area. This includes waiting to allocate funds for any part of the project, including contracting with any firms to make plans. There's strong support to vote on this issue in November. As our representatives, you need to be listening. $4 million for plans, or whatever they would cost, that may never be used is not good government leadership or representation. You are accountable to your ward and to all of Findlay. People will not be happy if their tax money is wasted. I'm not asking you to kill the project. I am asking you to wait for the November ballot results and then to act appropriately.
Thank you. Discussion or question for Peggy? Thank you. Next to speak is Jack Wasbrough, who lives in Ward 2.
Allowing me to express my support for the downtown riverfront project. I'm Jack Wasbrough. My family and I own over 100 apartments in that area within a half mile. We think it's good for the downtown, good for the whole city, good for our business. I grew up on Jefferson Street. I played in that area you're talking about as it developed. My trash went in there. I can tell you what happens when you mix Ready Whip cans with fire. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about life, and I saw it go from nothing to done. And we spent a lot of time there. And we had what you might call a gang. Of that gang, we're all still in our 80s and alive. And we witnessed the fires, the filling in, everything. So I have a little problem with the safety thing. I hear too much about safety. Our tenants out of town, from out of town, always ask us, what is there to do in Findlay? Many of them are happy that we have such a great park system. I was in Coffee and Michi one night. I talked to a guy, I didn't know him. He was an amateur photographer, retired from Marathon. He was, I think, from Illinois. I asked him, was he going to go back since he retired? No. I said, why? Most people go back. The park system. That's the only thing he said, the park system. So I guess that's about it. I mentioned that, that none of our, I see no reason, the safety thing is just beyond me. I hear way too much about it on all fronts. And I can tell you more stories about the EPA and dealings with them. And so, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wasbrough. This question's for Jack. Thank you, sir. Next up is Mr. Matthias LaGuire. He lives in Ward 3. Mr. LaGuire, you have 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Matthias LaGuire, and I'm here tonight as a taxpayer and a concerned resident who is watching with growing disbelief as this council prepares to appropriate $4 million for park design plans just a few months before most of you vacate your seats. Let's be honest, this is a lame duck council. Many of you are not going to be, you're not being reelected. Yet you're still preparing to spend millions of taxpayer dollars on a project that has not yet been approved by the public and is currently the subject of an active initiative petition. This is not how responsible leadership works. Even without a degree in economics, I can tell you this is completely reckless, especially when the city of Findlay is operating with a budget deficit for the third year in a row. You are spending money we do not have on something the voters may not even want. It's like a woman draining her husband's savings to pay for architectural blueprints the week before filing for a divorce. Even if the designs are beautiful, they're now worthless and the money is gone. To make matters worse, we have legitimate questions on the table. One of the companies you are voting to pay, Rosales Partners, already has this bridge listed as a completed project on its website. Yet the vote to approve that contract is happening tonight. If you go to their website, Rosales Partners, you look up the Blanchard Bridge, they have all the drawings. It's a completed project. You haven't paid them yet. Yet the vote to approve that contract, it's happening tonight. And then we have the mayor who stood in front of this community and said she needed the drawings in order to shop the project to potential donors. But if the renderings were finished last year, that excuse doesn't hold up. So the question becomes, why the rush? Why now? Why would any of you, on your way out the door, spend $4 million on plans that may be scrapped entirely, depending on how the voters decide in November? The responsible thing to do tonight is simply vote no on these appropriations. Let the public vote first. Let the new council make long-term financial decisions, and let this city move forward with integrity and transparency. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as the council that approved Mayor Murren's folly or Mayor Murren's toxic park? I would encourage you, if you go to this Rosales Partners website that you haven't even contracted with, they have the completed design plans posted in their portfolio. So it says bridge use pedestrian, bridge type suspension, bridge location Midwest, services, conceptual, preliminary, and final design. Cost $10 million. Client, City of Findlay, Ohio. They've got the project sheet. The Findlay Suspension Bridge over the Blanchard River in Findlay, Ohio will be a curved bridge that connects two new parks in the city's central core. I believe they're existing parks, Civitan and Anchor Park. Its curvilinear design elegantly frames the scenic views of the river and the downtown skyline in the distance. The bridge's unique alignment is suspended solely from the interior side of the curvature, creating a dramatic and visually stunning structure highlighted by a single inclined steel tower. This distinct geometry harmonizes beautifully with the natural setting of the riverfront. The dynamic cable arrangement is designed to enhance both the scenic views and the natural environment. The bridge will feature aesthetic lighting and an overlook at the highest point over the river, providing visitors with breathtaking vistas of the Blanchard.
30 seconds.
Breathtaking vistas on this bridge. Furthermore, the structural gesture of the pedestrian and bicycle crossing will establish a vital new connection to the existing and future park system, ultimately becoming a symbol of the city and a testament to the commitment to sustainable urban development. This is embarrassing. You guys haven't even had your third reading to give them $1.5 million, but they're showing this as finished. This is insane. I suggest
Thank you,
that
Mr.
vote
LaGuire.
no.
Your time is up. Questions? Mr. DeArmond.
They have a contract to do the preliminary design, not the detailed design. How many votes do you have for your petition?
How many signatures do we have? More than we need. We're still collecting them. We want to make a statement. 1,365.
Ms. Frishy.
Mayor, about an hour before the council meeting, I was made aware of this website with our project on it. Can you explain why that's there, what is going on? Because it's surprising to me.
Mayor Warren.
This is the firm that did the 30% designs, as has been discussed over the past 2 years. They were a subcontractor of Strand and Human Nature. They're listing potential work, as all entities do. This is standard practice for them to list this. So there's not been any contract for the additional work, but they are the ones that provided the previous presentations, which were shared with council and the community.
And the price was now $10 million on their
That
site.
includes all of the design aspects, and again, that's preliminary designs. I'm not in charge of their website design.
Thank you, Mr. LaGuire.
You are welcome.
Our next speaker tonight is Renee LaGuire, who lives in Ward 4. And you have 4 minutes, Renee. Thank you.
Okay, I won't need 4 Good evening, council members. I just happened to bring one of, well, actually, there's quite a few of my grandchildren here. I remember when you voted for the Findlay City School income tax, it was flooded with children from the Findlay City Schools, and it was all about the children. It was all about the children, the income tax. And so I just happened to bring a few of my grandchildren because I am concerned about the safety. Jack might not be concerned, but I am. So I'm here tonight with one simple urgent request. Cease and desist all design plans and funding for the downtown Riverfront Park project. Until the initiative petition is placed on the November ballot and the voters have had their say. This request is not new. You've heard it from dozens of residents over the last few months. We've explained our concerns in detail about the environmental risks, the premature funding, the public opposition, and the dishonesty surrounding the timeline of completed designs. And yet here we are tonight, watching a lame duck council prepare to vote on spending millions of dollars on a project that may be rejected by voters just a few months from now. This is not leadership. This is reckless. There has been no intelligent public debate on whether this is the best use of taxpayer dollars. Most residents have never even seen the plans or understand the scale of this project. Yet this council is prepared to commit millions to drawings and designs while the city runs a budget deficit for the third year in a row. We've given you more than enough reason to pause. We've filed a lawsuit complaint. We've gathered signatures. We've raised valid, unanswered questions. Still, you rush forward. Let me ask you directly. Do you want to be the city council remembered for ignoring the people and pushing through a $40 million project during your final months in office? Do you want to be known as the council that funded a park before cleaning it to the safest possible standard? Do you want to put the city through more legal battles and potential litigation just to approve drawings for a park the people may vote down? This park does not need to be flashy. It needs to be safe. We are Findlay, Ohio, not a tourism hub, not a design showcase. Let's be known for taking safety seriously and protecting public health before appearances. My grandchildren are important to me. I believe your grandchildren or your children should be important to you as well. I have great-grandchildren. I do not want the safety of my grandchildren impaired by a park that has toxic chemicals on it. Please let common sense guide your vote tonight. Hit pause, let the people decide in November, and do not spend one more dime until that vote happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Questions for Renee? Thank you. Next up to speak is Melissa Humphreys. She lives in Ward 3. Melissa, you have 3 minutes. Excuse me, 4 minutes. Ward 3.
Good evening, council members. As he said, my name is Melissa Humphreys, and I'm here tonight to raise serious concerns about ordinance number 2025-077, which proposes contracting with Rosales Partners to design the pedestrian bridge for the downtown Riverfront Park project. According to the official agenda, this ordinance is up for its third and final reading tonight, and if passed, would appropriate $1.5 million of taxpayer funds to Rosales Partners for design work. But here's the problem. As of today, as Matthias LaGuire said, Rosales Partners is already listing the Blanchard River Pedestrian Bridge as a completed project on their official portfolio website. The project page includes polished renderings and descriptive text implying it has already been designed, presented, and delivered. The exact language used on their site reads, "The bridge is part of a larger downtown revitalization plan and connects the proposed Riverwalk with the existing pedestrian network. The bridge concept was presented to the community in 2024 and was well received." This is not hypothetical. They are describing this as if it has already happened. You can see this for yourself on their website. How is it possible that a firm is claiming credit for a completed bridge design before this council has even voted to approve the funding? This appears deeply inappropriate at best and potentially deceptive at worst. Either the work was done prior to approval, raising serious questions about procurement and transparency, or the company is misrepresenting its relationship with the city of Findlay. Either way, this is cause for concern and absolutely a reason to pause this process until clear answers are provided. This is not how a responsible government operates. You are being asked to approve $1.5 million in public money for a design that may have already been created, promoted, and published without public approval and before a valid contract was even in place. That should alarm every single one of you. This project is already controversial. The public has not yet had the opportunity to vote on whether they want this $40 million park, and now we are finding signs that key components may be getting rubber stamped behind closed doors. Tonight, I'm asking you to vote no on Ordinance 2025-077 and halt this process. Do not spend another taxpayer dollar until this matter is fully investigated and until voters have the final say this November. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Humphries. Questions? Thank you. Our next speaker tonight is Mr. Steve Hill, and he lives in Ward 5. Mr. Hill, you have 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Steve Hill. My wife Beth and I moved to the city of Findlay in the fall of 2022 to be closer to our family who lives nearby. Most of our lives have been spent in Cincinnati. Moving here has been a fantastic experience. The friendly people, the nice amenities, well-kept neighborhoods, family-friendly, and much better traffic. Very nice place to live. But we also have seen the effects of the flooding that has affected Findlay. Our son lived in the Hunters Creek area in 2007. His house escaped damage, but both he and I helped some of his neighbors clean out basements. I know what that's like. I'm encouraged by the progress made to mitigate flooding in this area. Fixing it can't happen soon enough. I'm here tonight to add my voice to those who are excited about the prospect of a signature facility on the north side of the Blanchard River, the downtown recreation area. Given the effort required to lessen the flood impact by refiguring the northern bank of the river at Main Street through the benching project, it makes perfect sense to couple that with an upgrade to this facility and property. With the proximity to downtown Findlay and the mixed residential commercial areas to the north, its location is terrific for a transitional use facility. I have 3 quick points. First, cities that have embraced their nearby water features with public access areas have benefited from adjacent development as well as becoming a focal point for civic pride. Examples are Cincinnati's The Banks on the Ohio, Columbus's Commons Park on the Scioto, or is it Olentangy? Somebody knows. Cleveland's The Flats. These are certainly different sized cities than we have, but the principle is the same. We can make Findlay, we can see the nearby business and residential growth that results from a project like this. Second, the past industrial facilities or activities on the north side have left an unfortunate legacy. I applaud the city for being proactive by engaging a well-qualified Ohio EPA certified remedial professional to guide them through the voluntary action program. Having a final project that is protective of the public health and safety is vital to its success. I like the data-driven process to establish cleanup standards that also applies to schools and daycare facilities. This is both appropriate and prudent. also demonstrates careful use of our taxpayers' funds. Third, as the park design moves into the next phase and surface features begin to be firmed up, I'd like to say I'm in favor of a prominent pedestrian bridge. I understand the utility of connecting Anchor Park and the bike trail and the need to construct it at the same time as the rest of the project. I'm advocating for a tall, elegant, eye-catching structure to become a defining landmark for the city of Findlay.
30 seconds.
In conclusion, I'm asking you to be conservative in your use of your constituents' monies, make the park a safe place by following well-established cleanups guidelines, and make it spectacular. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Questions? Thank you, sir. Our last speaker tonight is Mr. Eric Proctor. Mr. Proctor, you have 4 minutes.
All right, thank you. And I'd like to thank everyone who spoke, representing different views. You can tell there's a lot of passion for Findlay in this room. I, too, am passionate about Findlay. I'm also relatively new to the community, so my family and I moved here almost 3 years ago, but we also are passionate about the community that we joined. So I'm speaking to you today as a resident of Findlay. I'm also the Chief People Officer at Blanchard Valley Health System, but I am speaking to you as a resident, and also a former resident of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So exactly 10 years ago, Winston-Salem opened Bailey Park, helping to revitalize downtown and really spring forth an area that was known as the Innovation Quarter, which was a regional hub for biotechnology. Words can't describe what that meant for the city that I once called home, but I'll try to do so as I depict what a similar project could do for Findlay, Ohio. So it fostered community engagement, it promoted a healthy lifestyle, and it contributed to the city's economic growth and revitalization. It helped to bring new businesses and restaurants, new causes, new families, new entrepreneurs, and a sense of holistic well-being to the city. So when I joined Findlay, one of the things that really drew me in and excited me was I felt like we were on the cusp of making some of the big transformative decisions that I've seen really pay off in the community that I originally called home. So as I thought back to that Bailey Park project, there were 3 memories and highlights that came to my mind. So one was attending my first child, we have 3 children now, the first concert that they had attended to benefit the National Cycling Center. The second, I was president of the board of trustees for the local homeless shelter, and we had a sleep out challenge where we were able to use that green space to be able to spread awareness about a cause. And also just looking out over that expanse to be able to see all the yoga sessions, to be able to see all the community events that gathered there. But when I looked, I was looking through the window of our new medical school campus, so Wake Forest University's medical school campus, which I don't think would have been there downtown if it were not for the regional hub that had been created through the park initiative. So it really was a tremendous development. I was an employee at the time of Wake Forest University. What I saw is that it really drew in faculty, staff, and students. I could see as I look at the employer landscape across Findlay that it could help to recruit and retain talent. So I just really want to thank you all for listening to this topic. I want to thank you for your consideration. I think it would be life-changing and transformative for Findlay and the life of the community. So thank you all, and I really appreciate your consideration. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Proctor. Questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That finishes the public discussion for ordinances 2025-076 and then 2025-077. We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2025-076. Discussion. Mr. DeArmond.
So $4 million is a lot of money, and I've thought about this for quite a while. So I believe once the park is in place, the properties around the park will flourish with private investment in residential housing, restaurants, nightlife, retail stores, and daytime activities. It will stretch our downtown further north and better connect to the university. These things are important to attract and retain younger generations to put down roots and grow their families here. This park is our investment in our future. The economic benefits in property taxes, income taxes, and sales taxes will come back to the city in spades. If you have any doubt about the financial impact of this park, drive to Dublin, Ohio and visit their Bridge Park. Bridge Park has made Dublin the go-to hotspot for Columbus's dining experience. I want our downtown to be that for Northwest Ohio. The cost of designing the park is expensive, but I don't think we should snuff out a vision before it has time to develop into its full potential. We can't shop out grant money or private donations until we know exactly what we want to build. I would encourage my fellow counselors and the public in general to be patient and give this dream 2 more years to grow and get traction. So for those reasons, I'm supporting both of these design ordinances. Thank you.
Other discussion? All those in favor of ordinance 2025-076, please say aye if your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Nay.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wolpser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
2 nay.
The ordinance is adopted.
Third reading for ordinance number 2025-77, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to enter into a contract with Rosales Partners to provide design and engineering services of the downtown recreation pedestrian bridge, project number 319-13700, appropriating funds.
Mr. Baumann.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2025-077.
Second, Mr. Wobser. Discussion. Ms. Frishy.
Since the majority of council passed the first ordinance to continue to the design work for the $40 million park, I would strongly encourage and ask council to pause with regards to the bridge. It's the 1.5 million. I don't have the number in front of me. The reason I say that, I go back to where my heart is with regards to this entire 19-acre site. It has environmental issues that are known. I know we are saying that we haven't heard from the county on anything, but I think we need to extend that olive branch, and we need to sit down and figure out how we can make this property the cleanest and safest it can be, because we're not doing it at this time. And everybody wants to be in favor of the park. I'm not against the park. Am I against a $40 million price tag? Yeah, I've said it. But we have a budget, we have things going on. If the people want a $40 million park at the end of the day, great, but I want you to be on it. And I don't want you glowing like I mentioned in the past. I don't want people having cancer. I want kids to be able to have a sleep out on the grass, in the dirt, and me not worry what's going to happen to those kids in 10 years. And I think we are not separating that. So I think if we could just have a give and take tonight, at least, possibly with council, to say let's wait on the bridge portion to see if that money is needed to make sure we are remediating to a proper level, because I've done my research like I always do. And when this whole site specific to Rainick came about back in 2021, I wasn't on council, but I would have been a no vote to take that property, because it came out that Mr. Fort said that he knew that it was a contaminated site back then. So we know that the mayor knew it. I know that council knew it. I watched the council meetings. There wasn't one discussion. It was, we're taking this property from our former councilman, Bob Nichols, and we're going to assume all liability. That's what the document said. I read the ordinance. And then from there, trust got lost. And the reason trust is lost is that Rainick building sat there. It became partially unfenced, all unfenced. And everybody said, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. We're going to take this building down. There's just a little bit of asbestos, but nothing to see here. And it went out for bid. And when it went out for bid, it went for asbestos only, nothing else wrong. And they removed the asbestos, but then the building was taken down and put in our county dump. And you can't tell me that there was nothing contaminated when we dug to bedrock and green slime was coming out of the ground. So everybody can say Holly is overreacting, but when green slime comes out, that's not pretty. When I talk to the EPA, they tell me, oh, that's not good. So I'm not overreacting. And I'm not the expert, and neither are you, Dan, or any of us, right? But why can we not see that we need to do better? We took the building down. We didn't tent it. Yes, it was watered while it was being taken down. Is it the proper process? I don't know. I'm not an environmental person, but it went to our county dump. I have the receipts that show it. We then let the property, when that went out for bid, even though we said there was only asbestos on that property, it was explicit in the bid process, do not disturb the concrete slab. Why? I don't know. Again, that's what happened. And then that slab sat for 2 years. And then any contamination on it was going into the ground. And was there any contaminant in the concrete? Yeah. Was it little amounts? Yeah. But it was 2 years later. So here nor there. The ground was highly toxic. So that for me right there says I don't have trust in our mayor who took ownership of this property or the county when they went through the process to take it down, because I feel like, my personal opinion, that corners were cut. And when you cut corners, you get bit in the butt later. And I would rather know that we don't have liability and we are putting our citizens first. Then I would strongly ask everybody on council, you passed the bigger amount tonight. Let's just wait and see if that money is needed to work together with the county to clean to a full level of clean bill of health. And so I will be a no vote again, but I'm asking you guys to try to meet me halfway.
Mr. Ballman.
If I could just, I hear the safety concerns, but I am convinced, and you cannot convince me otherwise, that we will clean it exactly to the standard in which the experts say that we must clean it. And I have faith in the administration. I have faith in our project leads to do just that, because as Mr. Fort outlined earlier, there's no way around that. We will clean it exactly as it needs to be cleaned, to the degree that it needs to be cleaned, and therefore no longer.
Mr. Ballman, excuse me. Audience, this is council's time to discuss. There should be no discussion or comment from the audience. I'd ask that y'all refrain from any kind of spoken word that I can hear or that anybody on council can hear. Say it in your head, but please don't say it out loud. Mr. Ballman, please continue. You're set. Thank you. Mr. Palmer.
We have hired the experts that are going to protect our families. CEC does this for a living. They do this all across the country. There's always going to be some kind of risk. Just like Mr. Fort said, you could die crossing the street. You have a 1 in 10,000 chance of having an incident on the way home. There's no way to eliminate risk. What they do is mitigate it. All right? This project is worth it. It's safe, and it's going to be a great benefit. Job retention, job recruitment, investment in the area. To me, this is a win-win right here, these two ordinances. We need to pass these.
Ms. Frischi.
I want to remind Councilman Palmer that CEC, when I had email conversations that was forwarded to everybody, yes, the VAP standard they are cleaning to, but we can be more strict and stringent, and he did say that. It's not required, but we can do better. And the fact that we're going to have children and families circling this area, being in this area, why are you so against doing better?
Mr. Palmer?
Where does it end? Doing better. There has to be risk analysis, cost benefit analysis. That is what they do. So that way we're not spending extra money that we don't need to spend. There's always going to be a certain level of risk. You can't eliminate it. I look forward to the day that I can take my family and then my future grandchildren down to that park to enjoy all the amenities, the concerts, and everything. This is a beautiful, wonderful thing that some people seem to be wanting to hold up.
Ms. Frishy?
Was there a cost benefit done on the $40 million park, Josh? Was there a cost benefit?
Mr. Wobser?
Of course there isn't. We haven't spent the $40 million yet, Holly. So until you get to that point, which you'll have the opportunity, possibly, actually we won't, the next council, however, will, to spend the money to actually build the park. This is simply the engineering portion of it. This is the paperwork.
All those in favor of adoption of ordinance 2025-077, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Nay.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
2 nay.
The ordinance is adopted. Nope. Go.
Second reading for ordinance number 2025-80, an ordinance appropriating and transferring funds and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Kalb, on this, the airport master plan, I believe you had mentioned that there are some timelines that might necessitate this getting its third reading and consideration tonight.
Yeah, so we need to get the IFE done, which is a third-party review of the estimate on that, in order to submit that grant, to finalize the grant documentation. I don't want to leave that company out because a lot of times that money does not come back to us until the closeout documents. So this is really just fronting the money until we get it back. So we're going to be fully reimbursed for it at a later date, but I want to make sure the company gets paid so that way we keep a good relationship with them.
Ms. Warnicki?
Based on that, I would move to suspend council rules and give this its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Greeno, we have a motion to suspend council's rules and give this ordinance its third reading. All those in favor of the motion to suspend, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
And Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Council statutory rules have been suspended, and ordinance 2025-080 will be given its third reading.
Ordinance number 2025-80.
Mr. Hellman?
Move for approval of ordinance 2025-080.
Second, Mr. Ballman. Discussion. All those in favor of adoption of ordinance 2025-080, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Ballman?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
And Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
Second reading for ordinance number 2025-81, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to waive formal advertising and bidding requirements and enter into contracts with Helms & Sons Excavating Incorporated for the replacement of the sanitary sewer on Sherry Street, project number 356-52600, appropriating funds thereto and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Kalb, on this, I know we're kind of going around the second time with this, and there were some time frames. Is this one that you're trying to get done before school, or is there any concerns in that, or can this wait for its third reading?
I mean, really the biggest push we have right now for this is we want to get this done so we can resurface Cherry Street yet this year. I would appreciate it if I had tonight so I get moving on, because we do have an extra week within there. If I don't, we'll make it happen. We get it through. But you know why we're bidding that, or we sent it out to bid. It was over the 20% of what the ORC is. I don't believe we are going to get another or a better price than what we've seen for that time. We're probably actually going to lose bidders because they showed their numbers. But I know it's only July, but my time zone of construction is running fast. So if we could appropriate tonight, I can get under contract and get moving sooner or later.
Mr. DeArmond,
Make a motion to suspend rules and give this its third reading.
second. Mr. Guarino, we have a motion to suspend council's statutory rules and give ordinance 2025-081 its third reading. All those in favor of the motion to suspend, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Russell?
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Baumann?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Nay.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
Council statutory rules have been suspended, and this ordinance will be given its third reading.
Ordinance number 2025-81.
Second, excuse me, motion, Mr. DeArmond.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-081.
Second, Mr. Hellman. Discussion. Ms. Frishy.
Jeremy, just explain for the record again, we are waiving the formal bidding process because originally the contractor was out or dropped the bid?
No. So why we're, and I think I explained this in the letter, but
Yeah,
we
just
sent this out to bid. It was over the 20%. We cannot accept bids that's anything over 20% of the engineer's estimate. They were at, I believe, 25 or 26%. This is a very deep sewer. So, you know, our numbers were off a little. The pipe, the cost of pipe has went up. So we were just off a little bit. It's a smaller job, so any little change in that does adjust it. But what it was is we sent out the bid. Everyone was over. So in order to do another public bid, we had to send it back out, wait another month and all that kind of stuff, and then go back. But from my past experience of bidding projects that happen like this, once you show your numbers, you're not, you know, if you were one of the top two, you're probably not going to bid again because you already showed your numbers. So now you're going to have to cut your profit even more to try to win a bid that you don't even, you know what it looks like once you get there. So that's why I'm waiving it, because even though we sent out the bid, we could not officially or legally accept it. So that's why I feel like this is the best bid we're going to get at this time, and I want to waive that bidding process.
Other questions? Ms. Frishy?
And I'll just say for the record, I didn't suspend rules for that reason. I wanted to let it have its full 3 because of that, and that's the only reason. Thanks.
All those in favor of adoption of this ordinance, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Warnicki?
Aye.
Mr. Wobser?
Aye.
Mr. Baumann?
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond?
Aye.
Ms. Frishy?
Aye.
Mr. Greeno?
Aye.
Mr. Hellman?
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Palmer?
Aye.
And Mr. Russell?
Aye. The ordinance is adopted.
Second reading for ordinance number 2025-82, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency. Second reading for ordinance number 2025-83, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, service safety director, and/or city engineer of the city of Findlay, Ohio, to advertise for bids where required and enter into contracts for replacement windows and doors at the city of Findlay, Ohio Airport Terminal, utilizing awarded energy efficiency and conservation block grant funds, project number 352-53700, through the United States Department of Energy, appropriating and transferring funds thereto, and declaring an emergency. You did.
Next one.
Okay. Second reading for ordinance number 2025-84, an ordinance vacating a certain portion of a certain alley hereinafter referred to as 118 West Front Street vacation in the city of Findlay, Ohio. First reading for ordinance number 2025-85, an ordinance authorizing the utilization of awarded community development block grant funding, as well as to appropriate and transfer said funds and declare an emergency.
Mr. Palmer.
In order for this loan to close for the company, we need to suspend council rules and give this its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Baumann. We have a motion to suspend council's rules and statutory rules and give this ordinance its second and third reading. All those in favor of the motion to suspend, please say aye. After your name is called, those opposed, nay.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Russell.
Aye.
And Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Council statutory rules have been suspended, and this ordinance will be given its second and third reading.
Ordinance number 2025-85. Ordinance number 2025-85.
Mr. Palmer.
Move to adopt ordinance number 2025-85.
Second, Mr. Wobser. Discussion. All those in favor of adoption of this ordinance, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
And Mr. Wobser.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted.
First reading for ordinance number 2025-86, an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director of the City of Findlay, Ohio, to apply for Bureau of Workers' Compensation Safety Intervention Grant funds, as well as the Firefighter Exposure to Environmental Elements Grant funds, depending on which grant is awarded, to include the City of Findlay's match of funds to be 17 to 25% for the purchase and installation of a self-contained breathing apparatus decontamination unit to be utilized by the City of Findlay Fire Department and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Palmer.
This is just an application to get grant funds. Therefore, I move that council's statutory rules be suspended and this ordinance be given its second and third reading.
Second, Mr. Baumann. We have a motion to suspend council's statutory rules and give this ordinance its second and third reading. All those in favor of the motion to suspend, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Council's statutory rules have been suspended, and this ordinance will be given its second and third reading.
Ordinance number 2025-86. Ordinance number 2025-86.
Mr. Greeno.
Move for adoption of ordinance number 2025-086.
Second, Mr. Palmer. Discussion. All those in favor of adoption of 2025-086, please say aye after your name is called. Those opposed, nay.
Ms. Frishy.
Aye.
Mr. Greeno.
Aye.
Mr. Hellman.
Aye.
Mr. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Mr. Palmer.
Aye.
Mr. Russell.
Aye.
Ms. Warnicki.
Aye.
Mr. Wobser.
Aye.
Mr. Ballman.
Aye.
Mr. DeArmond.
Aye.
The ordinance is adopted.
First reading for add-on ordinance number 2025-87, an ordinance appropriating funds and declaring an emergency.
That is the end of legislation. On to old business. New business. Mr. Wobser.
I'd like to call an appropriations committee meeting for August 4th, the day before our next meeting on the 5th, to discuss our investment policy and the mid-year budget review.
Time.
I am not available on the 4th if you want me there.
How
I'm
about the
available
5th,
on the
Jim?
5th. Yeah, the 5th is great.
Let's go with the 5th, before council, 5 o'clock. Josh, you good? Yeah. Excuse me. So August 5th, 5 o'clock.
Upstairs or down here?
Upstairs, please.
All right. So we have an appropriations committee meeting called for August 5th at 5 p.m. Other new business. Mayor Mern.
Just a couple of quick items. Tomorrow evening, we'll be hosting the annual Play Ball event from 5:30 to 6:30 at Miracle Field. The Sluggers players will be helping so that I don't have to try to pitch terribly. But it's a free community event, tons of fun. They'll have that. And then everyone is also then invited to attend the Sluggers home game tomorrow evening, courtesy of the Community Foundation, who is paying for entry through a Fun for All community event. So please come out and enjoy that. I also will note and just give you a heads up on August 5th, that is also the National Night Out. So I know we will all be here having this meeting, but community, if you want to attend, that's always a great event. Earlier today, I was able to have lunch with Coach Tressel and be a part of a workforce roundtable discussion focused on Northwest Ohio. Really appreciated the Lieutenant Governor's time to be able to talk about things that are going well, as well as the things that are continuing to be challenges across the state. and contribute to what they're putting together as the Ohio Workforce Playbook. I'm sure that wasn't at all thought of with the coach being in charge of it. And then finally, super cool today, I actually was notified by this from Captain Cassidy, who's in charge of the Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington, Texas. He said, "Congrats, Mayor," and sent me a picture that today it was announced that Captain Olivia Bear of Findlay, Ohio, has been selected as the most recent C-130 pilot with the Blue Angels, and is a great representative, a Naval Academy graduate, and certainly a great representative of our community. So wish her and her family the best, and we're super excited to have her representing our community in that prestigious way. So,
Very cool.
yeah, congrats. And I think that's it for me. Thank you as always.
Looking for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Baumann, second. Mr. Hellman, all in favor of
No. Before you do that, I just wanted to make note that I cannot be here at the next council meeting. I will miss all of you, but unfortunately, I cannot participate. I apologize for that.
We have a motion to adjourn from Mr. Baumann. Still looking for a second. Mr. Palmer. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, and we are adjourned.